This is the Jerry Callahan Show.
All right, it is 4th of July, almost 4th of July. It is a time where a lot of people check out. They go to the beach, they're on vacation, they're not working. Lots of the big podcasts out there are taking the week off. But there's something happening right now in this country. There's something happening in America that I think people should be paying attention to. History in the making is what it is. We are watching history. It is July. The Republican convention's in July. Democrats are in August. The election, the next debate is in September. And man, that's going to be something to watch. The election is in November. It is 4 months from Friday. And one of the candidates is not going to make it. One of the candidates is being urged by everybody, publicly, privately, quietly, loudly, is being urged to bail out. Everybody is now seeing what we've seen for 3.5 years. Check that. Everybody is now admitting that they see what we've seen for 3.5 years. We have lived a lie in this country for 3.5 years. People in the mainstream media, people in Washington, D.C., Democrats, people, bureaucrats, people in the administration have been lying for 3.5 years. Always fine, tip top. It was only a month ago that Joe Scarborough said, this man, Joe Biden, has never been better, never been sharper. A month ago, they told us there was no problem, no issue. He's 81, but he is in great condition. No problem. He can campaign, he can debate, he can run, and he can win. And he could serve 4 more years. Well, that all blew up a few nights ago, Thursday night in Atlanta. We got to see him perform live. No script, no teleprompter, no props, no visiting angels. Just Joe Biden and Donald Trump, Jake Tapper and Dana Bash. And it was an historic disaster. And everybody knows it. I knew there'd be some gaslighting. We're getting it from, Corinne Jean-Pierre, a little bit from Mika and Joe. But the ship is sinking, okay? The walls are closing in. It's all coming unraveled for this old fossil who is not fit to serve 4 more months. And they would like you to believe he could serve 4 more years. Well, everyone knows that's not possible. The question now isn't whether he can do another term. The question is whether he can finish this term. He's not well. He's not fit. The rumors are out there. You can find them. You can hear them. There's something seriously wrong here. My theory, and it's been this way for, 2 years, I've been telling you he has dementia. I know dementia. This is dementia. This man, he's at that age. He has the symptoms. He has the stiff walk, the stiff gait. He's got the hands. He's got the temper. We'll get to that. He's a little snippy with people now. And he gets lost. He doesn't know where he is. He's got all the symptoms. And again, what I've been saying for 3 years, get ready because it's going to get worse. It doesn't get better. That's the one thing that is certain. In 100% of cases of dementia, it gets worse. It never gets better. So the guy we see today, the guy we saw Thursday, he's going to be worse in a month. At the Democrat convention, he's going to be worse. In the debate in September, it's going to be worse. In November, when we all go vote, the guy you see on that day, on November 5th, will be much, much worse than the man you saw Thursday night in Atlanta. That's the truth. And lots of people are reluctantly admitting it now. The first Democrat elected, the first elected congressperson, Lloyd Daggett from Texas, said Joe must go. A Democrat congressman is saying Joe must go. Nancy Pelosi, who said a couple of months ago that Joe is perfect. He's sharp. He's probing. He's on top of everything. She says, we have to find out. She says, it's a good question. Is it a permanent condition? You know what? I guess it's an appropriate question. The answer is yes. The answer, and she knows it. We know it. It is a condition that he is living with, and it's going to, and it's the way he's going to be going forward. So we're in a country of 33 million people, 330 million people. We have people around the world watching us, everything we do. And we have people telling you that he can be president for 4 more years. That's a lie. He can't. They know it. We know it. I know it. You know it. Everybody knows it. It is a mess right now in Washington. We got all the sound. We got all the stories. The rats are jumping from this sinking ship. In one day, we have, let me see, NBC, New York Times, Politico admitting that there's a big problem here. Forget, Newsmax, Fox News, forget, Dan Bongino or Ben Shapiro. We have people like Jake Tapper, like Andrea Mitchell, like people at Politico and NBC saying this isn't good. I'm going to go through all of them because it's amazing what we're witnessing. Again, this is history. We haven't seen a lot of candidates after being nominated, essentially, pull out. Lyndon Johnson did it, whatever, 60, 50 something years ago. The guy in Lyndon Johnson's district now is the one telling him, telling Joe Biden, he has to do what Lyndon Johnson did. Pull out for the good of the country. Pull out for the good of the party. But that's only the beginning of the problem. Then what? Then you have then you have nominee Kamala Harris, which is, let's just say, a little dicey. Everybody knows she can't do it. She can't be a candidate. She can't be a president. But right now, there are a lot of people, a lot of Democrats, a lot of liberals, a lot of black elected officials saying, you can't jump over Kamala Harris. You can't throw her out. So they have a choice: a dementia patient, a vegetable, a corpse, essentially, or a completely, utterly incompetent buffoon, a cartoon character in Kamala Harris. That's your choice. One of those two people is going to run against Donald Trump. One of those two people is going to get nominated in August and debate Trump in September. And I don't know which is worse for the Democrats. All I know is advantage Trump. I mean, he is just riding high. Among all the other headlines this week, Trump's sentencing has been postponed. We've been telling you Trump's going to jail. I was convinced he was going to jail on July 11th. Judge Merchan was going to put him in jail. He can't now. His sentencing has been postponed till September. So Trump will be a free man, and he will attend the convention in Milwaukee, and he will deliver just a barn burner of a speech. He will lash out. He will begin the revenge tour in July, and it will be spectacular. But man, Trump could not have a better week. He's leading in all the battleground states. He's leading nationally by 6 points. He's leading or tied in New Hampshire, in Virginia, in New Mexico, in Minnesota. All these deep blue states are taking a look at the dementia patient and saying, we can't do it. The country can't have that man as president. They screwed up. And I guess they had no choice, because Joe Biden wasn't going to step aside. He wasn't going to gracefully admit that he's too old, that he's too infirmed, he's too stubborn, he's too egotistical, and he has a awful, horrible woman by his side forcing him to march on. He's now, his meetings in not just in Camp David preparing for the debate, but in the White House are being attended by Hunter Biden. That is how surreal, how insane it's gotten. Hunter Biden, a crackhead, a criminal, a tax cheat, I think a sex trafficker of young escorts, just the worst of the worst, a guy who doesn't pay child support, a guy who ignores his own child. That man is now attending high-level meetings and advising the president of the United States. There's going to be books about this and movies. We have gone off the rails in DC right now. It is just insane. Where to begin? I don't even know where to begin, Ironhead. We got so much to get to here. Let's do Nancy. When you lose Nancy Pelosi and you're Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, an 83-year-old functioning alcoholic, just a lunatic at this stage of her life, who was pretty loyal. She was pretty steadfast. She was sticking with Joe all the way. She sounds like she's wavering. These two women on the screen right now. Oh, did I tweet out the show? Where are we, Ironhead, right now? We are live on
Rumble, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
Rumble, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We got lots of comments here. Keep them coming. Maybe I'll read them one of these days. Any good ones? Joe must go. Short steps only. Yes. There's so many just symptoms here. We'll get to one of the funniest Bidenisms of all today. Just hilarious. He can't even read a teleprompter anymore. He can't do a 5-minute speech on a teleprompter in front of 20 people. But we'll get to that. This is Nancy Pelosi with Andrea Mitchell. These are two dyed-in-the-wool Democrats. These are two Biden loyalists. And they're looking at each other saying, what are we doing, man? What is going on here? He's not well. That's the bottom line. And they know it. They know better than we do. They see him more than we do. They have stuck by him. They have lied to us for 3 years about how tip-top he is, how healthy, how vibrant, how sharp. They're bailing. They're jumping. Let's listen.
Do you have questions as to whether this was a one bad night or whether there is something more serious involved and whether he needs to be more open about if he does have a medical condition, if he is slipping? Everybody knows there's an age issue, and he certainly did the opposite of reassuring people with that high risk, potentially high reward debate plan that they came up with. It backfired.
Well, you asked me to speak from my experience, and my experience with Joe Biden is that in all the legislation that we passed to save the country with the rescue package, money in people's pockets, shots in their arms, children in school, people back to work, with the child tax credit, with the issues that were in the infrastructure bill, rebuilding the infrastructure of America in a very universal way where people can participate in those decisions. These TRIPS and Science Act to make us self-sufficient in the world, the PACT Act to honor the service of our veterans and help those who may have been affected by burn pits. The list goes on, and then the IRA. So we have all these things that he was masterful in helping to orchestrate, to write, and to pass. So he has a vision, he has knowledge, he has judgment, he has a strategic thinking, and the rest. He has a bad night. Now, again, I think it's a legitimate question to say, is this an episode or is this a condition? And so when people ask that question, it's completely legitimate of both candidates. Because what we saw on the other side was a lying of Justin. I tore up his speech when he lied to the Congress on every single page of his State of the Union. We should be tearing up what he said the other day because it was a pack of lies. And it's very hard to debate somebody when you have to undo.
Sounds like such a drunk.
There is, yes, that's a night too. She's gone. But think of that. Nancy Pelosi says it's a legit question. Is it a condition or is it a bad night? I mean, we all know the answer. Everybody knows the answer. Everyone knows that was a bad night. And the only reason we haven't had more bad nights is because he's never been left to defend for himself. He hasn't done a live interview with a reporter in 3 years. He doesn't do them. He hasn't debated. He hasn't taken questions for a reason. They're protecting him. They're coddling him. They're treating him like a child. Here's how he's going to save face. He's going to sit down with George Stephanopoulos. That's how you know he's reeling. George Stephanopoulos, that's where you go if you're a hemorrhaging Democrat, struggling, reeling Democrat, and you need a soft landing space. You go to see Steffi. Steffi is going to tape an interview this Friday, July 5th, and edit it and do their best. I mean, the lighting, whatever. They're going to do everything they can, ABC, to help this confused, feeble old man. They're going to release it in parts. It's going to be sound bites. It's going to be essentially a propaganda video. He's not going to go live with Stephanopoulos. He can't. I mean, that's all you need to know. He won't sit down live and take questions. He needs a friendly interviewer to give him a foot rub, give him a back massage, and edit the video and make sure any of his gaffes, if he says he's going to kill Medicaid, if he said no soldiers died on his watch, if he says he's a 6 handicap, Georgie will clip it, cut it. That's what's going to happen. That's their idea of damage control. That is coming. However, there's something fascinating happening here, a shift where the people who've been carrying his water for 3 years realize there's a limit to their loyalty, realize they have to salvage some dignity and at the same time save their party. I mean, no one is more devoted to the Democrat Party than New York Times, CNN, Politico. These are essentially arms of the Democrat Party, and they are bailing. They're telling the truth about Joe Biden. And this interview is amazing. You have to listen to Carl Bernstein. This is one of the legends of journalism in this country. Obviously, he's been riding on Watergate for 50 years. And he's an old, bitter, cranky Democrat, a loyal Democrat, a loyal Biden supporter. Well, after Thursday night, Bernstein has bailed. And here's what he admits in this interview is he's been covering for Joe Biden. The media has been covering for Joe Biden for a long time. He admits the guy we saw Thursday night, he's been that way for a long time. And the people in the mainstream media knew it and covered it up to help Joe Biden. This is a former Washington Post reporter, a legendary investigative reporter, admitting the media has been working for Joe Biden for the last 3.5 years. Listen to this.
So, Carl, according to the people you've been talking to, what are you hearing?
Well, these are people, several of them, who are very close to President Biden, who love him, have supported him, have been among them are some people who have raised a lot of money for him. And they are adamant that what we saw the other night, the Joe Biden we saw, is not a one-off, that there have been 15, 20 occasions in the last year and a half when the president has appeared somewhat as he did in that horror show that we witnessed. And what's so significant is the people that this is coming from, and also how many people around the president are aware of such incidents.
He mentions media too. He goes on. They've seen it 15 or 20 times, people around him. This is a reporter telling you this. Where you been, Carl? We've seen it. We know. You've been lying to us for 3 years, for at least a year and a half, 2 years. You've been lying to us because you hate Trump and you want Biden to make it to November 5th. So a reporter is telling you, oh yeah, we knew this. But now the whole world knows it. Again, we've said this, Greg Gutfeld says it every night. They're not upset at what they saw. They're upset at what you saw. They knew that was Joe Biden. They knew he was feeble, confused. They knew he had dementia. They were just hoping you wouldn't see it. This, again, is a remarkable thing we're seeing unfold. This from the New York Times. You ready for this? New York Times reports that during his intensive debate prep, where he went to Camp David for a week to prepare for a 90-minute debate, his day went from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And in the middle of it, he needed a nap. The New York Times says he worked from 11 to 4 and required a nap in that time. That is about as damning as you can get. I know that's normal for an 81-year-old, but they wanted you to believe that Joe Biden was vibrant and sharp, full of life. And now they're telling you, the New York Times, again, the most partisan, the most corrupt, the most dishonest media outlet in the world, is admitting that their guy worked, I don't know, 3 hours a day in preparation for the debate with 16 advisors, and his crackhead son was there preparing him. His criminal, felon, crackhead son was in the room preparing Joe Biden for these debates. What else we got? Oh, we got, is this NBC or Politico? What do we got? Oh, this is NBC. Ken Delanian. This guy's a total stooge for the deep state. He is state-run media. He takes his orders directly from the White House or the State Department. Ken Delanian writes, Hunter Biden has joined meetings with President Biden and his top aides at the White House. 4 people familiar with the matter tell my colleagues, who are told the reaction from some senior White House staff has been, what the hell is happening? This is from one of their loyalists in the media telling you 4 people, 4, told them Hunter's in the meetings and they want to know what the hell is going on. That is incredible. We got this. That was NBC. This is Politico. Again, you don't get 3 more loyal media outlets if you're Joe Biden than the New York Times, NBC, and Politico. These are your people. This is from Politico. They talk about how nasty Biden is to everybody around him. Quote, it's like you can't include that. That will set him off. Put that in. He likes that, said one administration official. Quote, it's a Rorschach test, not a briefing, because he is not a pleasant person to be around when he's being briefed. It's very difficult, and people are scared shitless of him. All right, this is Joe Biden. It has always been Joe Biden. We've told you that. We knew that. He's a nasty, mean old man. They've been like, they helped craft the image, create the image of Joe Biden as Scranton Joe, as middle-class Joe, just a regular Grandpa Joe. They knew it was a lie. They lied to you for years. Hell, for 50 years, they've been lying to you. He's a legendary prick. And they didn't want you to believe that because, someone had to beat Trump and he was the guy. They're admitting now that he's a mean, nasty old man and everyone around him is scared shitless of him. That's Politico. That is not, again, that's not Newsmax. That's one of his guys admitting what a mean, nasty old man he is. I forget, not just mean and nasty, but confused. We'll get to the Biden. I don't think the rehabilitation tour is going so well. He did the 4-minute speech about the Supreme Court decision on immunity yesterday, where he stiffly read the teleprompter and then walked away.
Don't forget the spray tan.
The spray tan, yes. Orange Man's not bad anymore. Orange Man's good now because Joe Biden is orange. But he made an appearance today and on Tuesday, and it was, I've never seen this before. He made an appearance in a room with literally 20 people, and he needed a teleprompter, and he struggled with the teleprompter. We will get to that, and we'll give you the latest on the Trump trial and an amazing story about Donald Trump from a congressman and more fallout, more. I don't even know. I don't know if we can call these people, they're not being honest. They're just giving up. They've been lying for 3 years and they're giving up, and it's happening like every minute. It's unfolding in real time. Glorious. Everybody is bailing. Biden, the USS Biden is sinking before our eyes here on this 4th of July week. And people are saying, I can't do it anymore. I'm out. And then what? Kamala, President Kamala? Have you ever heard anything more absurd in your life? President Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris at the G7? Kamala Harris getting a 3 a.m. phone call? Kamala Harris delivering a State of the Union? It's not possible. Donald Trump is just having a great week. We'll get to that more, but first.
Excuse me.
I'd have to set this up. Biden making an appearance at a room in a building, in an office. He loses his way walking in, of course. He never knows where he's going. He's got the stiff arm, the stiff spine. He's got all the symptoms going. Someone finally directs him to the teleprompter. And I couldn't believe it. I'm saying, you don't go to an office with 20 people and bring a teleprompter. You just wing it. That's how it works. Teleprompters are for press conferences and big speeches, State of the Unions. They're not for stopping at some, office or, with 20 people that were going to listen to you talk about whatever, the CHIPS Act. But Joe needed a teleprompter. And you know what? Even the teleprompter in chief couldn't save him. This is just priceless. I don't remember anyone else doing this, reading the words other than Ron Burgundy. Do you remember anyone else reading the words that you're not supposed to read?
There's a chance Bush could have done it, but I don't recall.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's been done, but this guy's done it like 20 times. It's unbelievable. I'm sure it's the typing, the words, the script is different. There's parentheses and asterisks, but he's incapable of doing it right. Listen to this.
More people die from extreme heat than floods, hurricanes, and tornadoes combined. Say that again. Combined, more people die from heat than those three other major issues.
Oh my God. Right? And he mumbles after. That's not great.
I know, and that's all written for him. So he's supposed to say more people die of heat than hurricanes, tornadoes, whatever. It's more climate change nonsense, which he went on a rant today about how people who don't believe in climate change are dumb. They're so dumb. I mean, Joe Biden can't call anybody dumb. I'm sorry, it doesn't work. But he's not supposed to say it again. He's just supposed to say it again. Full stop.
Yeah.
What was the other one he did where he said, say the name or something?
He said pause once.
Pause, right? Pause. Oh, the people around him must just be like, what are we going to do? We can't make it to November. They can't. KJP today. This was an all-timer. Here's how you know that the loyalists are bailing. The rats are jumping off the ship. She normally, she picks on whoever, guy from NBC, New York Times, Politico, ABC, all her favorites, Washington Post, and they help her out. She's as dumb as a rock. We know she's incompetent. All the questions today, I shouldn't say all, there were a couple of cupcakes, I saw this, but many of the questions were about dementia, Alzheimer's. They were about the failing health of the president. And her job is to stand there and lie to you. Oh, there's no concerns. And this was incredible. This guy's from the UK Independent British paper. He goes on. His question lasts about a minute. All the details, is this dementia? Is it Alzheimer's? Does he have Alzheimer's? And she just is waiting to lie to him and say, no, he's fine, tip top. But this is the new theme. This is, he's not alone. There were 3 or 4 questions about dementia. That's where we are, America. 3 or 4 questions at a press briefing about the possibility that your commander-in-chief has dementia. And nobody thinks it's out of line. Nobody thinks it's unfair. Everybody knows it's appropriate. It's important. We don't just have an election in November. We have 4 more months. We got issues. We got wars. We got the border. We got inflation. And the guy in the White House probably has dementia. Listen to this.
Given what happened on Thursday, given the reporting in the New York Times and other outlets about the president's more frequent lapses, losing his train of thought, all of us saw what happened on Thursday where he simply could not form coherent answers to many or some, if you will, of the questions, and appear to lapse into nonsensical answers at the end. We beat Medicare, for instance. I'm going to ask something delicate, and you may not like it. The president may not like to hear it if he's watching, but I think the American people need to get a yes or no answer on this. Does President Biden, at 81 years old, have Alzheimer's, any form of dementia, or degenerative illness that cause these sorts of lapses? And it's a yes or no question. And if you don't know, why don't you, as one of his senior staff members, know?
I have an answer for you. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
It's a no. And I hope you're asking the other guy the same exact question.
Unbelievable.
Well, what does the other guy have to do with it? I mean, nobody thinks Trump has dementia. I mean, if you hate him, I mean, you could call him crazy, call him whatever, but no one thinks Trump has dementia.
We saw them side by side. We know the difference.
That's true. And you know what the worst indictment of Biden is? Nobody, to this moment, nobody's talking about Trump. He said a lot of things. He said a lot of, some crazy things, some funny things, some dumb things. He was Trump. He's an afterthought. Nobody even remembers anything Trump did in that debate, which is an amazing thing. Donald Trump usually owns these debates. He commands these debates. He was on stage for 90 minutes and nobody noticed. It was like, other than the faces he made at Biden, because Biden was so off the rails, other than the faces and the roll in the eyes, we didn't even notice Trump. That's how bad it was for Joe Biden. And then you had his wife, the evil Dr. Jill, following up by saying, "You did a great job, Joe. You answered all the questions. Trump just lied.
Good job, buddy. You did so good.
Good boy. You're a good boy. Here's a treat. Let's get some ice cream. We're going to go to Waffle House." She was talking today about him having a cold. And this is the other one. You got this other one where they're saying he had jet lag or something. He was fatigued from all the travel.
Yeah, this is the one talking about he had a cold and a bad night combo.
7 days at Camp David, where he worked from 11 to 4, took a nap in the afternoon. And they are blaming the fact that he had a cold and the fact that he traveled a lot. Well, I got news for you. Being president is tiring. It's a hard job. You can't be what Joe Biden is, an infirmed, sickly, feeble, frail, confused old man with Lewy body dementia. You can't be that and be president. You can't be that and bag groceries. You can't be that and drive a car. You can't. But they want you to think he can be president. Let's listen to her again talk about he had a cold.
Pelosi said it's a legitimate question to ask if this is an episode or is this is a condition. Which one is it?
Well, what I can tell you is that he had a cold and a bad night. I would not see this as an episode. I would see this as what it was and what we believe it to be, which is it was a bad night. And he did, on top of that, he had a cold. And that is the reality of the situation. That is the reality of what happened that night.
Yep, but the other guy, he had the sniffles. You're not asking him that.
He had a cold. That's why he said he killed Medicare. He had a cold. That's why he said he was 6 handicap. That's why he said the border patrolman endorsed him. He had a cold. That's why he said no military personnel died on his watch because he had a cold. And the whole thing of Trump lies, that is so transparent and just so weak. When we have a long list of Biden lies. I mean, you could say they both lie if you want, but that doesn't work one way. You can't say Trump lied, but our guy didn't. We got a whole list of them here, Joe. You lied about everything, as you always do. Hell, you talked about your son dying in Iraq again, like you do every time anyone mentions Iraq or military or anything. Anyway, I don't even know who this is going on CNN saying Biden was tired from all that travel. Let's listen.
Apparently, the president apologized to everyone in the room, saying this is not an excuse, but it is an explanation. And he blamed the extensive foreign travel that he did in the lead up to the CNN debate for his poor performance. Just a reminder for everyone, he did go to France for the D-Day anniversary, and then he turned right back around and went to Italy for the G7 summit. And he told the room, I didn't listen to my staff. So the suggestion there being his staff did not think this was a good idea. And then he apparently said, I almost fell asleep on stage. I just want to unpack this new explanation for a second, as the explanation for why his debate performance was so bad. I find it a little bit puzzling, and frankly, I'm not sure that a lot of people are going to find this reassuring. If anything, some folks might hear this and be, even more concerned. Yes, there were 2 foreign trips in the lead up to the June 27th CNN debate, but he returned from Italy on June 15th. The debate, again, was on June 27th. So we're talking about roughly 12 days in between when he was back in the States. And remember, a part of those 12 days, about a full week, he actually spent with his advisors at Camp David for the sole purpose of really focusing on debate prep. So why is the president falling asleep on the debate stage at the hours of 9 p.m. to 10:30?
Oh, that is CNN saying Biden told his staff he almost fell asleep. Again, every single rule in this debate, except the start time, was designed to help Joe Biden. Everything. No audience, mute button, no interrupting, only 90 minutes, 2 breaks, all of it designed to help Biden. And it blew up on him. And it, because it was so early, the country got a good look. And right now it's July 4th. And the whole country now knows he can't do the job. And the polls are showing it. It was the worst miscalculation. And I guess, they can blame the staff. They can blame whatever. They can blame the cold. They can blame travel, but no one's buying it. Everybody knows it could not have gone worse. And everybody's moving on. They're already saying, can Kamala do it? Who should Kamala's VP be? Can they come up with another candidate who won't be able to take all the money Joe Biden has raised, but obviously would be able to debate and campaign, which Joe Biden can't. I want to be done with 80-year-olds, and I hope Trump wins. I hope he can do 1 term. Can we just be done forever with 80-year-old presidents? I don't even want 65-year-olds. How about 45-year-olds? How about 40-year-olds? It's a hard job. Can we just be done with these just feeble old men? Just be done with Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer. Can we be done with all of them? All right, we're going to get to this Trump story, which is amazing. You're going to want to hear this. Isn't this a great story, Ironhead?
It's the coolest story I've ever heard in my life, I think.
The coolest story he's ever heard. And we'll give you an update, the latest on the Karen Reed, I don't know what to call it, mistrial, I guess. It's not over. We'll try to look ahead to the next step in the Karen Reed thing and what they're doing to our boy Turtle Boy, our guy Turtle Boy. They're coming after him. It's not pretty. It's ugly. We'll get to that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
All right, before I got to do this poll. This poll is unbelievable. I mean, we do polls a lot. Trump's killing. He's winning in everything right now. He is riding high. He's got a 6-point lead nationally, leading in all the swing states, tied or competitive in a whole bunch of blue states. I mean, New Hampshire and Virginia, and New Mexico and Minnesota. It is right now. If the election were tomorrow, it would be just a wipeout, a landslide. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but everything is coming up Trump right now. Check this poll out. This is incredible. This is from it's a CBS poll, but this is the New York Post story. A jaw-dropping 72% of registered voters do not believe President Biden has the, quote, mental and cognitive health necessary to serve as president. Hear that? That's almost 3/4 of registered voters don't think Joe Biden has the, quote, mental and cognitive health necessary to serve as president. You know what that is? That's them asking, is the sky blue? Is water wet? whatever, is Lizzo fat? That's just objective. That's not even subjective. That is an objective fact. Is Joe Biden capable mentally, cognitively of serving 4 more years? And 72%, you get 20% just by being a Democrat. People who say, oh, he's a Democrat. Yes, of course. Only 27% think he's capable mentally of serving as president. That is such a disastrous poll. That is a real look into what the public sees and what we've seen for 3 years. What they're finally allowing the public to see. The and then the number on the debate, I thought it'd be higher. 51 million people. You imagine being a Biden, surrogate, a Biden family member. 51 million people saw you shove your loved one up there on stage in the throes of dementia and humiliate himself. These people are awful, awful. Jill Biden, Hunter Biden, awful, awful, rotten, evil, horrible people. That's what we know. That's a fact. All right. What else? You want to get to the Trump story? We could do this all day. There's people who are jumping ship. Again, Trump's trial delayed. It was July 11th as sentencing. He was going to jail on the 11th, and the convention is the 15th, I believe. He was going to be in jail for the convention, which was going to be drama. I was kind of rooting for it because it was going to be so wild. He was going to have a special wing at Rikers, and they were going to hold the convention without him. That's not going to happen because of the immunity ruling by the Supreme Court. It's been delayed till September, and by then, Trump might have the presidency locked up by then. But I think a lot of people are saying time to jump on the Trump train, and you're even going to get it from mainstream media outlets who know that he's likely the next president, and maybe they shouldn't go all in on calling him Hitler at this point. Maybe they should say, we'll give him a chance. But this is great. This is Congressman Wesley Hunt from Texas, military guy, big conservative, with Sage Steele. You think I'd get her right? She's my girl. I love Sage Steele. And he goes on her podcast and he tells a story about Trump I'd never heard. But it is a campaign commercial if ever I've seen one. You want a president who's respected and feared around the world, unlike the pathetic dementia patient in the White House right now. Well, consider what Trump did when he met with the leader of the Taliban. This is awesome. Go ahead.
I'm gonna give you my favorite President Trump story. This is my number one favorite of all time. When we were negotiating with the Taliban, while President Trump was still the president, President Trump wanted to get out of Afghanistan, but he wanted a conditions-based withdrawal, meaning that you do what we tell you to do, and then we'll start pulling troops back slowly as long as you abide by our rules. It's President Trump and Mike Pompeo, and they are talking to Taliban leadership in the room, and they had one translator in the room. President Trump looked at the Taliban leader and said this: I want to leave Afghanistan, but it's going to be a conditions-based withdrawal. And translator translated. And he said, if you harm a hair on a single American, I'm going to kill you. And the translator goes, and Trump goes, tell him.
Tell him what I said.
Tell him what I said. Reached in his pocket, pulled out a satellite photo of the leader of the Taliban's home and handed it to him.
Shut up.
Got up and walked out the room.
That is the most badass thing I've ever heard.
Unbelievable.
I hope it's true. I mean, my only question when I heard this, and it sounds awesome, is why have we never heard Trump brag about this?
He does a bunch of stuff he never brags about, honestly.
I mean, there is a lot of like charitable stuff he's done that he doesn't brag about, but that move is just so cool, and it worked. There were no last 2 years, I believe, of Trump's term. We didn't lose a single soldier or Marine in Afghanistan, not until Joe Biden wanted a photo op and rushed everybody out of there and got 13 of our warriors murdered by by savage terrorists. But I'm sorry, Joe told me no one died on his watch, so I must be misremembering. But that's a great story. And Trump, you know what? Trump's going to see that, and he's going to say, "Hey, let's talk about this. Let's make it into a commercial." There's so much Trump can make it into a commercial. The commercial he came out with after the debate was great. It's like 1 minute, and there's no Trump. He doesn't talk. You don't even see him. It's just Biden stumbling, stammering, and wandering around and losing his way and lying. That's it. Everything has to be focused on Biden. That's how he has to do it now until November. But all right, before we go, the Karen Reed story is still wild. I was out my yard with my daughter's dog, Bug the Chug. And someone just comes walking up the driveway. I know the guy, but he comes up. Can you believe there was a mistrial? I mean, people were shocked because they saw the evidence. No one watched closer than Ironhead for 9 weeks, and it seemed impossible that they wouldn't get an acquittal. Well, they didn't, and we don't yet know how many holdouts there were in the jury. I think 2. That's going to be my guess. 2, maybe 1, probably 2. And they just didn't like her. They didn't like her, and maybe they're like my friend who I told you about, the cop, who tend to believe cops and want to believe cops instinctively. Hell, I'm usually like that. But this, I paid close attention to, and the cops were lying. We know that. And one cop, Michael Proctor, the worst liar of them all, he's been reassigned. We thought initially he was fired. He probably will get fired. But at the moment, he's still making $184,000 a year, and he's been reassigned. But to me, the retrial seems impossible because Proctor has to be a witness. I mean, the defense will call him if the prosecution doesn't, if they realize the mistake. The defense has seen all the cards. They know what's coming. There is no way you could retry her and convict her. It couldn't happen. So they will try to get some plea deal maybe, or just drop the charges. Or maybe the feds come in and start arresting people and the whole thing just goes sideways. But the people, as I said before, everyone who thinks it's impossible to have a conspiracy, to have a setup, a frame job with this many people involved, are assuming they're smart or they're honest, or somehow they're not honest, but they're somehow not evil. But it's easy to have a bunch of people if they're all stupid, evil, lying drunks. And they weren't good at it. It wasn't a successful conspiracy. It was a terrible one. So it makes all the sense in the world that these idiots, these drunks, these rotten cops would conspire, would frame her, and fail because they're dumb and they're drunk. They failed. It wasn't a good conspiracy. Anyway, I'm getting off on that again. But they're coming after our guy, Turtle Boy. This is disgusting. Turtle Boy has done an amazing job. He's the best reporter in New England. He's the most fearless reporter in the world. He'll go anywhere. He'll challenge anyone. And they're coming after him. Do we have the picture outside his parents' house? Outside his parents' house. This is the kind of people we're dealing with. They kill a turtle and hang it outside his parents' house. I believe the turtle was shot too, right? They didn't just they killed a turtle, a huge turtle, a snapping turtle.
Yeah, this is not a painter turtle or whatever they're called.
No, this is not right. Not a little speckled turtle. This is a big ass snapping turtle. There it is. If you're watching along, hanging outside his parents' house. So they're coming after Turtle Boy, but I have to say they're messing with the wrong guy. He is fearless. Let's not forget, a couple days before the verdict, he went to Canton for dinner. Which was such a ballsy move. And it was amazing. It was amazing video, amazing TV, amazing reporting, because they showed their true colors. These trashy townies came after him. They assaulted him in Canton while they were being videotaped. That's the kind of people we're talking about. But good luck to our guy, Turtle Boy. Best of luck, and stay safe, because these people are scary. They're stupid. They're vicious, and they blame you because you exposed them all. It was brilliant, and we will see if they put us all through another trial. I doubt it. I have my doubts, but we will leave it there for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and thanks for commenting. Any good ones here, Ironhead? I've been busy.
They're all good.
They're all good. Isn't it crazy that 28% of people think Joe Biden is not mentally impaired? Yes, that is pretty amazing. It's like with a poll. The poll says Trump 49, Biden 43. Are you telling me 43% of America still would vote for Joe Biden? How's that possible? Vote for Robert Kennedy or Cornel West or whoever you want, but you're going to vote for a senile old, whatever. We've gone through it enough. Anyway, things are getting crazy. Things are getting wild, and it's just getting started. I can't wait. This is going to be a great summer, Ironhead, a wild summer, but have a great 4th of July. Doing anything fun on 4th of July, Ironhead? I love 4th of July.
I'm going up to the White Mountains.
The White Mountains.
Family barbecue.
Fireworks?
Oh, yeah. We set them off in the middle of the lake.
Don't blow any digits off. I know.
Nope.
You going to shoot some guns?
I am going to shoot some guns.
Excellent. Shoot some guns. Light off some fireworks. It's going to be a red-blooded American 4th of July.
It sure
I'm
is.
looking for it. And thank you. Getting people congratulating me from my daughter who was wed on Saturday. It was awesome. We're still enjoying it. Had to take an hour to talk about all that's happening in this crazy world. But that'll do it for today and for this week. Happy 4th of July. What a great country we live in. I'm Jerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show.